Welcome back, student. Today we are going to have brainstorming over charging by friction. My dear student, when two bodies are rubbed together, there is friction between them. A body can be charged by friction. This method of charging a body is called charging by friction. My dear student, we are studying charging by friction. When two bodies are rubbed together, there is friction between them. A body can be charged by friction. This method of charging a body is called charging by friction. My dear student, we have already studied that each and every object in the surrounding has positive charge and negative charge. The number of positive charge and negative charge in the body are equal. When the body has equal number of positive charge and negative charge, then we can say that the charges present in the body are balanced. And when the charges present in the body are balanced, then we can say that the body is neutral. When the body is neutral, we can say that there is no charge present on the body. Then, my dear student, can we develop charge on the body? Yes, we can develop charge on a body. How can we develop charge on the body? We can develop charge on the body by making the balanced charge present in the body unbalanced. Can we make the charges present in the body unbalanced? Yes. My dear student, when the charges present in the body become unbalanced, then the body is said to be charged. If the body has excess of positive charge, then the body is said to be positively charged. And if the body has excess of negative charge, then the body is said to be negatively charged. This body which has balanced charge can be made unbalanced, and the charges can be developed on the body by a process called as friction. And my dear student, today we are going to consider two examples given in a book where the balanced charge present in the body can be made unbalanced and a neutral body can be converted or can be made into charged body. My dear student, when two bodies are rubbed together, there is friction between them. A body can be charged by friction. And we are going to study charging of a body by friction. My dear student, here we have taken glass rod and also silk cloth. My dear student, both this object, the glass rod and the silk cloth, initially are neutral. When they are neutral, it means that the amount of charges present in both these objects are balanced. Now, my dear student, if the charges present in both these objects are balanced, then we can say that they will have same amount of positive charge and same amount of negative charge. When a glass rod is rubbed with silk cloth, some negatively charged particles move from the glass rod to the silk cloth. As a result, the glass rod is left with an excess of positively charged particles, while the silk cloth acquires excess of negatively charged particles. Thus, a glass rod becomes positively charged and the silk cloth becomes negatively charged. One more time, we are going to see what happens when we rub the glass rod and the silk cloth. When a glass rod is rubbed with silk cloth, some negatively charged particles move from the glass rod to the silk cloth. As a result, the glass rod is left with an excess of positively charged particle, while the silk cloth acquires excess of negatively charged particle. Thus, a glass rod becomes positively charged and the silk cloth becomes negatively charged. My dear student, we have already studied that the objects initially present in the nature are neutral. Means the amount of positive charge and negative charge in an object is the same. When two objects are rubbed against each another, then the charges can be developed on this neutral object by a process called as friction. My dear student, when we take a glass rod and a silk cloth and rub them against each another, then some negatively charged particle from the glass rod moves towards the silk cloth, due to which the glass rod develop more amount of positive charge. And as the number of positive charge in a glass rod remains more or becomes more, then the glass rod is said to be positively charged. On the other side, my dear student, the silk cloth receives or take the electrons which are given by glass rod, and here the number of negative charge in a silk cloth increase, and therefore silk cloth becomes negatively charged. One more example is given in a book, and in this example here we are going to take a wool cloth and a plastic rod. My dear student, initially both the wool cloth and the plastic rod will be neutral. Means they will have the same amount of positive charge and the same amount of negative charge. When a plastic rod is rubbed with wool, a negatively charged particles are transferred from wool to plastic rod. Thus, wool acquires positive charge and plastic rod acquires negative charge. My dear student, when we rub wool with plastic rod, some of the negative charge from the wool cloth moves towards plastic rod. Therefore, the wool cloth remains with more amount of positive charge, and therefore the wool cloth becomes positively charged. On the other hand, the plastic rod receives the electron from the wool cloth, and here the amount of negative charge in a plastic rod increases, and therefore the plastic rod becomes negatively charged. My dear student, if we take a glass rod and a silk cloth and rub them against each another, then the electrons from the glass rod moves towards silk cloth, due to which the positive charge in the glass rod increases, and as the positive charge in the glass rod increases, the glass rod is said to be positively charged, whereas the silk cloth receives the electrons from the glass rod, and here the amount of negative charge in a silk cloth increase, and therefore silk cloth acquires negative charge. In the same way, my dear student, if we take wool and plastic rod and we rub them against each another, then some of the electrons or some of the negatively charged particles from the wool cloth are transferred to plastic rod. Therefore, the amount of positive charge in a wool cloth increases, and if the amount of positive charge in the wool cloth increases, then the wool cloth is said to be positively charged. Whereas if we consider the plastic rod, then the plastic rod will take the electrons from the wool cloth, and here the amount of negative charges in a plastic rod increases, and if the amount of negative charges in the plastic rod increases, we can say that the plastic rod is negatively charged. That's all, student. We'll stop here. Thank you very much.